welcome to All in Adams, the official podcast of Adams County government, where we're all in for our residents, our employees, and our community. So whether you live here, work here, or you just want to know more about what makes Adams County a great place to be, thanks for tuning in. We're all in Adams. Welcome back to another episode of All in Adams. I'm Nikki Kimbleton, the Communications Director for Adams County. We continue to introduce you to our Board of County Commissioners. And today we have another new board member, Commissioner Kathy Henson, joining us. Thank you.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here.
We're so excited to get to know you a little bit better. And I know you've been serving the community in public service for quite some time, but tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, my background is in the performing arts.
Yes.
So I did not start out in public service by a long shot. I was a voice major in college, and I've done musical theater, acting, singing, dancing my whole life. That was my very lifelong goal, very serious lifelong goal for many years, and I pursued that. And I had a lot of success in the performing arts, which doesn't always translate to financial success, but a lot of great success. And I started choreographing musicals. I transitioned from performing into to choreographing musicals. In about 2000. Started doing that some more. And I will also tell people, as much as I love being a commissioner, and I do already love it, that the best job in the world is being a professional Christmas caroler.
I was going to ask, do you have a favorite role or something what is a professional Christmas? Are you just paid to go door to door, or?
Well, no, it's not door to door.
Okay.
Although if that's what the client wants, then that's what we do. So
Okay.
I worked for about 20 years with the original Dickens Carolers, which is, there are a lot of Dickens out there. So I'm going to be clear. It's the original Dickens Carolers. That is the name of the company. And we sang 4-part a cappella Christmas carols. We also were characters. We spoke with an English accent. We also told stories. We acted out stories like 'Twas the Night Before Christmas and things like that. And we also interacted a lot with the audience. And so when you're out on the street, say in Larimer Square, sometimes people just walk by and look at you, and sometimes people stop and they make requests, and you start joking around with them and that. But obviously, that job is only valid for 1 month out of the year, from about Thanksgiving to Christmas.
Well, Christmas in July,
I think somebody out there should do that. They'd probably get a lot boost to their business if they had some carolers there. But I did love that job dearly. Then I have 2 sons who are 18 and 20. And so I was raising them, working in the performing arts as much as I could. And then I started volunteering in the schools when they were going through the Adams 12 public school system. And I began advocating, in addition to being a room parent and helping with field trips, I started advocating for them to get supports in the classroom that would help them, because they needed that. And I also knew there were other students who needed that. So I became very active in promoting that. And I joined the Adams 12 Finance and Audit Committee, where I served for 5 years, which was sort of the beginning of civic service for me. And at the same time, my community in South Thornton had a lot of blight remediation that was not being addressed. And I realized that I could use my voice to try to make some change there. And so there were already residents working on that. I sort of just jumped on the bandwagon and started going to city council meetings very regularly, long before I really decided I would run, probably about 2017 or so. And then I decided that I could keep using my voice from the council seat if I could win. And so I ran for council in 2021. So then that was kind of how I transitioned into public service from the performing arts.
This hints at many of the things that you just said, but what are some of the passions that really encouraged you to run for office? Because I mean, it's a big thing. It's a big sacrifice.
Well, the through line for me has always been using my voice. Even though I did study music and I studied voice, I was also always somebody who was comfortable speaking up, raising my hand in class, working in groups, both in school and beyond that into the professional world. They would say, well, we need somebody to say this, or who's going to report out on what we talked about. And I was always happy to do it. And people were usually happy to let me do it, because a lot of people don't like public speaking or speaking up that way. So that's been a through line in my life. And then when I needed to be a voice for my kids and other kids, that was very empowering for me and very satisfying, and made me want to do more. And so when I started working in the community on specifically this Thornton Shopping Center at 88th and Washington, that was a big shopping center that needs to be redeveloped, which has now been torn down and is going to be redeveloped. But that was a big commitment and very near and dear to my heart. And so that's always the through line for me, is how can I use my voice to make change?
And you've really fallen in love with Adams County. I love the story about how you moved here.
Yes.
Thought, it might be temporary. And then
Oh,
here,
yes,
then now here you are.
Yes, my mother. So I grew up in Green Mountain, and I love Green Mountain. I love that area. My husband and I actually moved back to Green Mountain when we came back to the state after being gone for a while. He didn't know that's where I had grown up. He came out here to do some job searching and just said, I'll get us an apartment and I said, okay. This was the late 90s. And he said the address, and I said, that's Green Mountain. And he said, yeah, it's Green. They call it Green Mountain. I said, yeah, I know that. I went to Green Mountain Elementary. So, but we were able to buy a home in Adams County, which is another reason that I love the county, is it gave us an opportunity that we were having trouble finding in Jefferson County at the time. And so that really started my love affair with it. And then I said, but I told my mom, well, we'll probably move back to Green Mountain in a few years. And she said, I think you're going to be in this house a lot longer than you think. And she was right. And my mother was right. 21 years later, only house our kids have ever known. It's our home.
Yeah. I love it. And there's so much to love about this county, which brings me to my next question. What are some of the hidden gems, places that you love to go, like whether it's with the boys, with the family?
Well, I have to tell you, my husband was born and raised in Omaha, Nebraska. And actually there are the amazing thing about Adams County is you can look to the west and have the most fantastic views of the Front Range and Long's Peak, and you just want to get there as fast as you can. But when you look to the east or a little bit to the north, it looks a lot like Nebraska. It's rural. You've got a lot of cottonwoods and streams running through the area, and I really love driving in the eastern part of Adams County and getting that rural fix. I did live in Omaha for a while as well. In high school when I was growing up. And my dad grew up on a farm. So I really like the mix of things that you can get here. And where I live in South Thornton, it's semi-urban. I mean, we're right there. We're just north of Denver. We have light rail right there. So you can go to downtown and have a downtown experience very easily, as well as, like I said, you can have a rural experience, out in your splendid valley, and you're a world away from the city. So we have a lot to offer in that way.
It's a ton to offer. When we moved here just a little over 2 years ago, I'm 2 miles from shopping, like 15 minutes from mountains, and then 20 minutes from the airport, which is also, and I've heard, I've gone to some comedy shows here and heard the comedians make a joke about how the airport's in the middle of nowhere, but not if you live in Adams County.
Oh, no. In fact, I'm going to go back to my days of caroling. For several years, we had a contract out there, and I always said, I will absolutely go to the airport and sing there. And it was really great. Seeing a whole mix of people all coming through, a lot of local people and international flights. It was just amazing. It is a real gem, and it's not in the middle of nowhere. And I don't have to tell you how fast the county's growing. It's not going to be in the middle of nowhere, as some people say, for long at all.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to ask you a few serious questions just about your vision, future of Adams County, the work that I know that you're already doing and going to continue to do. But then we go to lightning round and we ask some fun ones. Okay. So So the first one is there any specific event or piece of advice that you've received that you really think helped shape your career? And I know kids are an inspiration, making sure that you're taking care of your community. But is there any one story that comes to mind that really made that shift for you?
Well, I think it really all comes back to the Thornton Shopping Center. And well, there were two things. It was the blight remediation along South Washington. A building had burned down. It was a Freakies store. And it's actually, there's still one very close to Thornton High School. But the previous building burned down and was left as is for what I felt was an unacceptable amount of time. And I just said, is this the message we want to send to our kids? And so for me, it was very personal to my little community, my part of Thornton, where I live and where I've served. But I feel that that's what we need to that's the lens we need to look through all the time. What is the message we want to send? How do we want to stand up for the people in our community? How can we make things better for them right here where they are in the place that we all call home?
No, I love that very much. And like I said, it's tough to make that decision. Yeah. You make a lot of sacrifices, but it's very much appreciated when you're making changes for other people, when you're really doing stuff to serve your community, making it a better place. And I know sometimes it starts with our own kids, but it of course extends to all the other families that are here as well.
Yes.
Is there any, let's see, is there I know I asked you about a piece of advice, but is there a quote or any? And I know there's been another time serving in the communications role that I do here. We get to ask our commissioners to share different quotes and different thoughts from time to time. And I know I've asked you before about your favorite quotes. Is there a quote that really inspires you day to day?
Day to day. Well, when I'm feeling feisty and I want to get things done, I go back to, it's attributed to George Patton, but which is lead, follow, or get out of the way. And I kind of say that to myself, and that's really not something I carry to other people. And it sounds a little bit harsh, but what is my role? Am I leading? Am I supporting? Am I getting in the way? How can I, do I need to get in the way? Am I trying to promote something or stop something? And so that's just a little tiny litmus test. And there's another quote that I don't have memorized, but by Rosa Parks, that is about realizing that once you just let go of the fear, you just do what needs to be done. And that's not a very fair paraphrase to that wonderful woman, but look it up. But if you search those words, it'll pop up.
I think it's fantastic because that gives an indication to the folks that are listening and watching about how you lead. Because when you say lead, follow, or get out of the way, it's okay to follow sometimes. It really is. It's also perfectly great to lead, and sometimes you need to get out of the way. It's so true.
Or clear the path.
Yes, exactly. Okay, last serious question.
Okay.
You have several years in front of you. Only been here a few months.
Yes.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. Yes.
What would you like to see happen? What's the vision that you have for Adams County over the next few years while you're in office?
Well, I feel very strongly that we are at, and people say this a lot, a crossroads. I don't know if it's as much a crossroads, but it's a new era, I think, for Adams County, in that we are one of the counties in the area that's continuing to grow and one of the fastest growing. We're a young county, median age is about 35. Mm-hmm. So between our growth and our youth and all of the assets we have, proximity to the airport, agricultural history, some great businesses coming in, we have a strong business community, all the roads and rails go through Adams County. We're really poised to, I think, take a next step into being a regional leader in both in business and hopefully in housing. That's going to be a tough nut to crack, but I really think that with the team we have, the current commissioners and the staff we have in place, and the excitement of looking for a new county manager to really pull the team together, we're going to be able to make some good progress for people. And we have the growth is very exciting because it's so much more fun to manage growth than decline, and I think that's a real asset for us.
Yeah, and for those of you at home who are or driving or wherever you are, we are in the middle of having an interim county manager, and we have a new county manager. That search process is going to be going on over the next few months, and it certainly is exciting to have that. All right, let's get into the lightning round and ask some fun things. Okay,
I'm more nervous about the lightning round than I was for the fun questions.
There's no wrong answers. All right, so if your life had a theme song, what would it be?
Don't Rain on My Parade.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that. Did you ever get to perform that?
I did. Not the role, but the song I chose. I sang it at one of I think it was my senior voice recital in college. Yeah.
So I did musical theater too.
I
did.
All right.
Do you have a favorite? Just a favorite production?
Oh, well, growing up, when I was 16, I got to play Maria in The Sound of Music.
Ooh,
and I was like, I've peaked at 16. I thought, what could be better than that? That was like, but that was a long time ago.
That's great though. Did you ever get to do, why am I blanking on the Music Man?
I got to choreograph it, which when you do that, you get to play all the roles because you're rehearsing everything.
That's fantastic.
And I love that show. Love it.
I got to be Gracie Shin. It was, yes. I had like one singing line, I think, but I did the best I could.
Oh, it's a great show.
Okay, the next question. If you could have dinner with any historical figure, famous person, they could be deceased or with us, who would it be and why?
No, and I think you even gave us a heads up that this question was going to be on there. I'm going to go with Catherine the Great.
Oh, that's a good one.
Because one time I asked my dad, I don't think this is true, but I said, how did you decide on my name? He said, we named you after Catherine the Great.
So you want to,
but she was a leader too.
And
she was a leader in much more tumultuous times than we're facing here in Adams County, I'm happy to say.
Do you have anything on your bucket list that you haven't done yet? Because I do know
you travel.
Yes.
Like travel's a
I
passion.
do like to travel. Yes, actually, I think short of, I don't necessarily need to go to Antarctica, but I would like to be on every continent. I'd like to travel to every continent. So I have a
That's a
couple
good
more.
goal
I
to
have not
have.
been to. I've been very fortunate in my life for various reasons. One was with my college choir that I got to go to Asia, and I've been to Europe a couple of times, but I haven't been to Africa or South America. So.
That's good.
Yeah,
And then you need to
I'd say travel is my bucket list.
you need to get one of those, unless you already have one, the world maps where then you put all the pins in them.
I do not. I do not.
That's a good thing to get until your child pulls all the pins out, and then you forget where you've been, because that can happen. What are you watching right now?
Well, I watch.
You binging anything?
Yeah, well, yes. Actually, I was a little late to the party, so I recently binged Madam Secretary because I had not watched that
Okay.
before.
I haven't seen that one yet.
I don't know why it wasn't on my radar when it was on. So, but I really enjoyed that. And then I do a lot of streaming because I hate commercials. I hate commercials, and I like to choose how to spend my watch time. So I started watching Running Point last night on Netflix, which is a comedy about a woman who sort of becomes the president of a professional basketball team.
The Waves.
Yeah. Yes.
I finished it this weekend, and I will not ruin it for you, but I will tell you. Are you far in? Are you very far in?
I think I watched 2 episodes.
Okay, it's great. It's great when you want to unplug.
Yeah.
And just kind of get away for a minute. Yeah,
Yes.
it's a very good series. Okay, I know we're running out of time, but I just wanted to ask you the toughest question of all. Is there anything I didn't ask that you'd like to share with the viewers and listeners?
Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, I'm new to this role, so I know, and what I've learned since being in this role is how much I don't know, but no, how much there is to learn about just being a county commissioner and serving all the great people in Adams County. And I guess I want everybody to know that, we are very accessible as commissioners. We have emails here, phone, please call or email, contact us. We really do work for the people, and they tell us what we don't know. Really, it's the residents of the county who tell us where we need to focus our energies and our attention, because they're out there living day to day in the county, across the cities and in the unincorporated areas. And so really just contact us, because that's the best way for us to work together and fix things.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. That's a fantastic point. And with your background, you're going to have to come back and host one of these podcasts. We're going to have to get you in here with a good fun topic.
That would be fun.
All right. Thank you so much, Commissioner Henson. We appreciate you being here today.
No, my pleasure. Thank you.
That's a wrap for this episode of All in Adams. Thank you for joining us as we explore the people, programs, and the policies that make Adams County a great place to live, work, and thrive. If you enjoyed the show, be sure to subscribe and share with your friends, neighbors, and colleagues. Have a topic you'd like us to cover? Let us know. We're all in for bringing you the stories that matter most. Until next time, take care of each other and stay connected with us on Facebook, Instagram, Nextdoor, and X. We're all in Adams, and we're all in for you.